Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Good morning, good day, everyone. Right, this I will explain to you about Chapter 2, International Trade Theory. Okay, as you guys remember, just quick recap what we've learned last week. We studied on the terms of globalizations. We understand how the international business works, how it operates, what kind of business strategy that most of the multinational companies are using. And then you might be heard about how tradings are really essentials for businesses. In this chapter, you will understand the major trade and investment theories that explain international trade. And then you'll be able to understand two things, which is classical and modern trade theories. So, first thing first, why trade matters? Why do you think that trading is really essential for international business? If you remember, the definitions of international business is trading activities. So we expect that businesses are doing import and export activities. Regardless any kind of industry that the business are going through, such as agriculture, technology, F&B, food and beverages, and other things, businesses are going to look at different aspects of international business. If you look carefully, these regions, other places, countries, they are negotiating, they are exporting and importing their products to other countries. And also, please remember, they are not selling only the end product, finished product, but also they wish to have imported or export materials for their operations. With trading activities, it allows increase the international trade. And also export activities are increased. Thus, when it increases, it also allows more job opportunities for other people. So trading, basically trading by definitions is about buying and selling of goods and services. It involves import and export activities, and it not necessarily involved within one country, because tradings encourage businesses to go beyond the border. Its growth, therefore, globalization has boosted the country market economy. And because you are selling your product overseas, so you are basically beyond international borders. Through trading, companies, organizations able to exchange goods and services. Do you still remember when we discussed about handphones? Some companies do tradings, selling handphones, any kind of brands internationally. But so some of you wondering that these products are coming from different parts of a country. Some of it from US, some of it from China. Even the assemble sessions also in different country. So this is exactly the opportunity when they exchanging goods, materials, operations, technology, exchange anything that making sure the product is quality, high quality, and then affordable, and the price is reasonable and marketable. As I mentioned before, the tradings allows more job opportunities, which create market strategies. Example, if you open your new business, new branch in other countries, so the office there, you need to hire new people. So when you hire new people, therefore, people at the current company have the opportunity to work with you. And then with that kind of understanding, those people in that particular citizens able to understand what other customers want. Let's say you're working in multinational companies in Malaysia. So you are a Malaysian citizen, so therefore you know and you understand what the Malaysian want. So the same goes to other companies as well. So the tradings increasing the economic growth of the country and then penetrate a new market beyond the border. When we understand the term stimulating, meaning that increasing and boost up the country's economy. The more that you sell, the more you create export and import activities. Therefore, the country have the increased economy based on the tax paid by the traders. So eventually, the money is in, and because they're spending their money just to buy your product. So you might be wondering, or you might be discussing in any other advantages of trading. So once we understand the term trading, so we look at what are sort of like types of tradings available in this business. So there are 7: mercantilism, absolute advantage, comparative advantage, actual in theory, PLC, new trade theory, and national comparative advantage theory. So if you look through these 7 types of trading, the top 5 is more likely like really like 100 years or perhaps a really old trade theories. Why do you need to understand about the trading theory? It's because you want to know that what are sort of like operations without the currency, without the technology, without any actual monetary systems, without any sort of like ensuring that the business growth internationally. So trading theory allows you to understand the concept of why most international businesses are going global and how they can maintain and penetrate new market. Trading 6 and 7, if you look at new trade theory and national comparative advantage theory, is which most of the businesses are using. So mercantilism, if is more referring to a country that have a wealth, really high wealth, and then they be able to buy out any kind of sort of like raw materials in much more cheaper. So if any country having have a lot of money, wealthier country, so they can monopolizing the industry, they can buy out, they reduce import activities, they will increase export activity. Imagine that colonizing country. So once this colony, they will got all the raw materials from the colonizing country. So when they got that, they absorb everything, and the colonizing country will produce manufactured goods and send back to colony. So they have the power of the country that they colonize. If you remember when you learn about history during the high school years, so this is it. Mercantilism is where before the military systems, the trading is much more on controlling country who have the most resources available. So mercantilism as well, look at economy system, the power your country is, the more manufactured goods that you can receive, and then you can sell. Once you can sell, so people's other countries will have really difficulties when entering the new market. So the more likely like looking at raw materials in other countries. Next, purpose. What's the purpose of mercantilism theory? It's more focused on the wealth. The more countries have more gold, so therefore they can control the economy. It covers export, tariff, access, and resources. You may find the term tariff in the next class. So these are examples of trade surplus. They are more gained through bullion, which is, remember that before we do have a monetary system. So they will use gold, silver as a trading values. So they will conquering the market based on this. Before when they having any kind of like US dollars or other things. Government intervention where they control the import and export activities. They are encouraging more export rather than import activities. Colonizations, the terms colonize, you might be knowing about the colonizations when you control one place, so you have overall resources, so you can get and then absorb it and then you export to other countries. Second, absolute advantage is where a country that have as an absolute advantage. For example, rice. Rice is something that most that we know that Thailand is one of the highly export in rice. So Malaysia is not produce rice more than Thailand. So in a way that Thailand have the absolute advantage towards rice. So meaning that Thailand can focus into the export activities of trading rice. So they can produce high quantity of rice with it quite cheaper, and then they can export to Malaysia or in other Asian region. You can see also the Middle East are very popular for oil producing. Central and South American are producing coffee. Chile and Zambia produce copper. Italy on wine production. So regardless any kind of countries, you can Google it on your own that most countries have their own oil resources. What's of the highest produced made by the country. So when you have absolute control over the produce, so you can control the market supply, market demand, and the government will not hold your business operations anymore. Because based on your produce, it eventually increase the country's economy. In modern nation specialization, which allows them to allocate most of their resources on the products that give them the absolute advantage. For example, palm oil. Where exactly the Malaysians rank for the palm oil? Are we in the top 5 in the Asian region or in the world region? So most probably that Malaysia is among of the top 10 of a country produced in palm oil. However, you must know that other countries as well produce palm oil much more than Malaysia. Next thing, comparative advantage. Comparative advantage is where a simple concept like Thailand produce high number of rice, and then Malaysia produce high number of palm oil. So basically, we want rice as our product in Malaysia. So we import rice from Thailand. And Thailand also need palm oil to do their food production and so on. So we do like giving a benefit among each other between Thailand and Malaysia. Okay, so because they produce that we want, and then our produce that they want as well. So it's benefiting both countries. If you look carefully into this picture, like US and Saudi Arabia, they produce a different types of product or goods. So then when they exchange, they can leverage, they can have like a very reduce the price, because if you want our product, so we can support, we can export to you, but then we also want your product as well. So it same goes to two ways. of our trading activities. Features of comparative advantage. We specialize on one specific production. Actually, all in theory, it's an economist, but they understand that country export is a much more efficiently rather than import. So if we can export the cheapest product what China did, so it's more productive. However, you must know that not everything that being exported is high quality product. Depends on the materials, price, and so on. The PLC. The product lifecycle theory have 3 stages mainly. So if you look carefully into this picture, introductions is where the new product introduced in the market. And then it grows by new versions of models such as handphones. They create new models, new technology, new design, and so on. And then when the handphones, the brand itself, have very matured, meaning it's quite longer time in the market. So the innovations kind of like stop there. And then eventually it will decline due to the high customer preferences, the technology, the pressure from innovative technologies, competitors, and others. You can see what happened to Sony Ericsson, Nokia, BlackBerry, all these brands that normally very popular five years ago. So this is examination of new product, maturing product stage, standardized product stage. Next one, new trade theory, creating barriers to entry. So all new trade theory like this and new trade theory will be like this. So we have a very similar abilities. Each of us are picked very good group, quite like automotive industry. We know that every kind of materials from the cars, on bikes, and so on are coming from different countries. So the new trade theories allows you to improve the quality of the product, improve your services, and the design itself. It's not about all new trade theory anymore. You're not trading the same things without any innovations, without you exchanging things with other countries. Lastly, is the national comparative advantage theory. This basically looking at whatever absolute advantage what the country can offer, such as land. In Malaysia, we do provide lands to traders where they can open new factories, like Microsoft did, our highways, all these things. I would call that national competitive advantage. We can offer our places, our resources to traders. We can have our human capital. We allow much more competitive within our country and so on. So these are the several factors in Porter's diamond model. Factors and domains of countries' capabilities. We can able to provide more resources to traders. There are any demands in country. Do we have supporting industry? Which is, if Malaysia, we do have agriculture industry, which is really supporting by our Malaysian government. It can distribute fairly in terms of marketing, distributions, and other things. Firm strategy structure rivalry. So R&D, research and development activities. So it's how the companies want to engage or perhaps getting more profits to sell their products. I think that's all for today. This is the end of chapter 2. Thank you.